What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. This video is also brought to you by two different things. Since we don't do any sponsorships here on the channel, I'll go ahead and show them out real quick. The first is my music, which is available anywhere you stream music under the name After Sound, and the second is a new podcast I just launched on my YouTube music channel called Chasing Infinity. It is myself and ChatGPT as my AI co-host, and we cover a wide range of topics in short form videos just like these. So check it out, links in the description below, and I appreciate the support. Okay guys, I want to put a video out here for all of the new and potentially new players that are coming into the world of Splinterlands to celebrate October. So if you're watching this at some point in the future, I'm recording this on October 1st, 2024, the year of the halving, and I'm just excited for where things can potentially go in this bull run. Not just Splinterlands related, but just everything in general. So here's the thing. Before we jump into it, for any new players, there's a running joke here. It's almost like a meme at this point, because every time I have made the statement or put out a video that said, hey, now is actually a great time to get into Splinterlands, the asset prices would dip like a couple of weeks afterwards. And all of a sudden it would be like, no, the best time to get into Splinterlands is probably like next week, right? So I'm taking a different approach this time around. I'm not actually focused on any of the asset values. I want to tell you why getting into Splinterlands right now is why it's a good time to get into Splinterlands right now, because a lot of the changes that have happened over the past 12 months, which to me, represent why I think Splinterlands is primed to do quite well in the upcoming bull run. Again, I don't know in terms of asset values where things are going to go. I'm not going to make any promises here. This is not based on ROI or financial advice or anything. It's none of that, right? It's just the game is in a better position, and I'm going to tell you why. So first things first. Well, I guess we had a change in leadership a year ago, right? So Matt, who is a co-founder of the game, ended up taking over as CEO, and there's been an incredible focus on scarcity. In many different ways. I think Matt has focused and become much more conservative, right? So not just with the company's balance sheet and all that, but just scarcity in assets in general. And I know that we may have had that before, and we kind of got away from it, especially during the last bull run when everything was just printed to oblivion. But at this point in time, there are several things that have happened, right? So first of which, you have this rebellion sale, which had a pre-planned burn, right? And we've burned probably more than 60-70% of the set already, and there's only a couple of months left. But every reward card that's come out has also, sorry, not every reward card, but every, what's that called? Every promo card that has come out has been relatively scarce, right? Rebellion itself is rather scarce. And probably the one that people don't think about much is the reward cards. Reward cards used to be highly inflationary and really be a drag on the entire ecosystem. And now we've turned them from a DEC faucet, right? So a token faucet into a DEC sink, because in order to create them as NFTs, right, you can earn them, play with them, earn with them, but in order to actually turn them into NFTs, you need to contribute back into the ecosystem. And at this point in time, we're still seeing across the board that it's still economically viable for people to do so. So they are burning DEC to unlock these cards, as well as then raking in a profit by selling them to somebody because the demand is there. So even those cards, from an NFT standpoint, are scarce. So this focus on scarcity is huge in my opinion, right? Because we are now getting over the hump of the last bull run and a lot of the major issues that plagued us, which is just assets and tokens everywhere. A lot of things have been streamlined. For example, vouchers, which again, we print an absurd amount of vouchers, but that's been streamlined, right? And shout out to Crypto Eater and Bjangles for helping to put proposals together. So this has been, I want to give Matt credit where credit's due. I want to give the team credit where credit's due, but this has also been, a community effort as well. So those two proposals, in conjunction with the company wanting to be collaborative, have made vouchers, right? So much more streamlined, and now we don't have them being a drag on the rest of the game economy. So overall, right? Overall, we're seeing scarcity in many different ways. We're seeing a streamlined process in many different ways. And, that to me just represents a good opportunity where you're now seeing maybe not new players, but the players who've been here for a while have much more confidence. And I made a video about this recently called, saying like, confidence in card value is coming back because people actually believe that there's scarcity because we're not just dumping them on the marketplace. If you want them, you got to go out and buy them. And, there's just not enough available for anybody, especially right now. So scarcity is number one. Number two is the new player experience. So over the past year, as when Matt came in, and shout out to Nate for really championing this as well. Nate is the creative director. So we are now streamlining the process for new players to come in. There is like a mini tutorial in place. It's probably going to be even better if you're watching this months into the future. But the academy is better too, right? There's a place where you can go and chat for help. There's the academy where you can go, which is like the index or encyclopedia, where you can look up anything that you need. Everywhere, every panel that you go into, I believe, has one of those little academy buttons or something like that. All right, maybe I'm just going to embarrass myself here. But point being is that there's opportunities where you can go in. All right, here's what it looks like, right? The academy. So you can go in, and for new players or returning players or players who've been here for a while, it's easy to navigate around, right? The ranked reward system has been streamlined where it's not a bunch of different leagues. It's just you go in and you can play, and it's just one full ranking system, which some people like, some people may not like, but that's actually how a lot of games do it nowadays, right? So I understand the switch towards it. And at the end of the day, it's just a much more streamlined process with a focus on making the experience better. So if you were somebody that maybe checked out the game 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, maybe even during the last bull run, and now you're seeing, hey, Splinterlands is back in the news again, let me see what's going on. The game is actually significantly easier to get you onboarded. Now, I won't lie, there's been a lot added to it, which is a good thing, but the downside is that there's complexity, right? So they've added a lot to the game in terms of different resources, different game modes with land. Soul Keep is another kind of game that's tangentially related to this, using the same Splinterlands tokens. So you're going to come in and you might feel more confused, right? But I would chalk that up to good problems in a sense, because the game has been expanding in certain directions and adding more things, which again adds to the complexity. But complexity isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? Some of my favorite games are the ones that I can deep dive into that have sprawling universes and ecosystems and stuff. It's just a matter of making sure you can walk the user through that. And there's been a concerted effort from the team to make sure that we have that. So coming in, I think it's significantly easier to know where to go, to understand the difference between modern and wild format, to understand the difference between attack types. They walk you through a battle, right? You get pushed into novice where it's almost like a little training grounds. So to me, it's a good time for that if you are either brand new or you haven't been in the game for a while and want to come back. It's a much more streamlined process. And for someone like me, I take that for granted, right? Because I've been here for several years now, and every time there's an update, I'm like the first one to see it or check it out. So I don't know what it is to look at, something with fresh eyes in that way. But from what I'm hearing from other folks, and some of the testing that they've been doing, it seems like it's been positive. And a lot of people are getting it's either been positive or the feedback has been helpful for the team to go back and review. So that's number two, right? A much more streamlined onboarding process, which hopefully will only get better, right? And once this is done, not that this is one of the items, but the team wants to do some heavy marketing to actually bring people into the game. So that's number two. Number three, and this is probably the biggest one, but it's the most difficult to really get across to newer players that are understanding and just kind of learning the ecosystem. But the tokenomic structure for the game economy and the game economy health as a whole is significantly better. And I've made videos covering this a little bit more in depth, so I don't want to go too deep here because if you're watching this, you're probably newer to the game. But just the way that we've tackled turning off a lot of the unnecessary syncs for the tokens, primarily DEC, right, which is kind of like the in-game currency token, and then SPS, which is the reward token. We've turned off a bunch of syncs. Sorry, we've turned off a bunch of faucets. Sorry if I misspoke earlier. We've turned off a bunch of faucets for them unnecessarily, and we've turned on a bunch more syncs. So again, going back to the first thing about scarcity, right? Now it's not just scarcity of assets, but we're hoping that with this tokenomic structure, you bring demand in and people will actually feel the scarcity of the tokens as well, right? To get DEC back up and to stay around peg. And here's the thing, we had to take some steps back, right? It was a 1 step back, 2 steps forward type of thing, where earlier this year, they turned off a bunch of turned off a bunch of faucets. And before they did, a lot of people took advantage, myself included, right? A lot of people took advantage of like burning gladiator cards or dumping, taking stuff out of the LPs because we were removing rewards. But in the long run, all of that is going to be so helpful for the game economy to just have a, I don't want to say straight path up, but it's like there's going to be there's going to be much fewer like downsides and things that drag it down in the long run. And so I don't know what this looks like. I'm not trying to make any promises here that SPS is going to go to the moon or DEC or any of that. All I'm saying is that the game and the game economy are in a much healthier place right now. And it's hard to tell that because token prices and token asset values are still down. But the moment things start moving, and we saw a preview of this last year, the moment we're able to eat through all the excess DEC, we start burning SPS. And when we start burning SPS, we've seen the price of SPS do a 3x in Q4 of last year alone, when the rest of the market was picking up, but we kind of did that in conjunction with the market, as well as the launches of new a new set and a new game mode with Land. So I'm excited to see what this brings as we get into 2025, when Land will hopefully be expanded upon. They're going to bring a new glamour system, which is cosmetics and skins, into the mix here, which that's a big unknown, but something I'm very excited for. And then of course new cards, new core sets, new mini sets, whatever it is that the team decides to bring, and any other potential game modes if they have something like that in the works. So that to me represents a really interesting and fun place for that I will want to be, right? Which is why I make Splinterlands content in 2025, and I'm very much looking forward to it. So hopefully this was helpful for you guys if you are just checking out the game, or even if you've been around the game for a while, just kind of recapping where we've been and why now is a really great time, in my opinion, to get into Splinterlands, because a lot of those previous issues have been fixed. But if you're a player that's been around for a while, throw something in the comments. Let people know what you think. I mean, good or bad. I mean, I think that most of the stuff here is good, but I know not everything has been perfect. But I'm sure they'd want to hear your experience as well. This is just one man's perspective. But for new players, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I will catch you all in the next video, and I'll see you around the game. Take care.